Hi everyone.
Shalom.
Welcome to the Torah portion through the lens of relationships. Glad you are here with us. If this is your first time, welcome. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can get notified of our new videos that will be getting released. And also go back and watch our previous ones because they are continuing to build upon each other, because we've already gone through all of Genesis and now we are ending in Exodus. So let's go.
So the portion that we're looking at today is called Pekudei, and it basically means records or numbers or appointments, depending on your translation. It's in Shemot or Exodus, chapter 38, verse 21 through the end of the book, chapter 40. So these final chapters of Shemot and Exodus, they discuss the amounts of the precious metals that are used in constructing the tabernacle, the making of the priestly garments, the inspection of the tabernacle components by Moshe, and the erection of the tabernacle, its courtyard, and all of its furnishings by Moshe. The book ends with the kavod, or the glory of Yah, filling the newly constructed tabernacle, and a retelling of the function of the cloud by day and fire by night that rested above the tabernacle.
And remember, while we are studying this, our focus, you guys, is in regards to relationships. So relationships between us and God, relationships between a husband and wife, relationships to a future spouse, to our children, to our family members, pretty much any human that's out there, we have some kind of relationship. So when we're studying the Torah portions, keep that in mind. We're not going to touch on every single thing when it comes to these Torah portions. And so it's the lens of relationships. So I just want to remind you guys that it is the lens of relationships. So when we talk about some of these things, that's the focus that we're looking at.
And really, it's centering on the most important thing that we are supposed to do in this life. If we look at, what are the two greatest commands? To love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and to love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
That's relationships.
Yeah.
So that's, one of the reasons that we chose to go ahead and look at these things.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
So we're just going to read the first couple verses of the Torah portion, chapter 38, verses 21 through 23.
21 through 23. This is the number of the things for the tabernacle of the testimony, as they were numbered according to the command of Moses, for the service of the Levites by the hand of
Ithamar.
Thank you, the son of Aaron the priest. Now Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord had commanded Moses. And with him was
Aholiab.
Thank you, the son of
Achisamach.
And the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a skillful workman, and a weaver in blue and in purple and in scarlet material and fine linen.
So, we notice a few different functions that are being talked about here. Yeah. And these verses, they commend or acknowledge the ones who are most responsible for the construction and completion of the tabernacle. If we look at verse 21, it says that Moses received the instructions from Yah, or as we've kind of referred to it, the blueprint. Yeah. So Moses received that. And then we have Ithamar here, who says it was by the hand of Ithamar. So perhaps Ithamar actually took these things that Moses was given and he actually wrote them down as the blueprint for these other two men that it mentions, Bezalel and Aholiab. Yeah. They're the ones who are actually carrying out the construction, but they needed something to refer to. Yeah. So perhaps it is Ithamar that actually wrote down, the things that Moses told him to, so that they would have something to refer to. Yeah. So, basically, it's talking about affirmation and acknowledgement, actually giving credit where credit is due. Yeah. That's one of the things that we really see here. In verse 22, it says that Bezalel made all that Yah had commanded Moses. Mm-hmm. So Yah, through Moses, actually is the first one here that acknowledges that these men completed the task that he had given to them. Yeah. And as we're going to see through these chapters, they not only completed the task, but they did it in the way that Yah had commanded them to do it. That is, they followed the pattern exactly. Remember, if we go back to when Moses received these instructions, there was a phrase that kept on coming up: follow the pattern exactly that was shown to you on the mountain. So, this could be what we would call today words of affirmation that let a person know that we're pleased with their actions or words. We might say, good job, or attaboy, or I'm proud of you. And we've talked about it before, but words of affirmation are one of the five love languages. It shows us how another person feels love, so it's one of those 5 love languages. Some people thrive on these words of affirmation. Others, they feel love through the quality time or the gifts or the acts of service or physical touch. Whether it's your main love language or not, acknowledging that someone did a good job can go a long way. Even if it's not one of their top love languages, at least they're going to know that you're pleased with their effort. But for some others, where it's one of the top ones, it will communicate that you care about them, even cause them to feel loved by you.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of people like to hear that those good job, job well done and attaboys and, it doesn't matter. We all like to hear those things from our bosses, from people that we work with, from our family members. We should be able to hear it from our family members versus always getting it from our jobs, or the things that we do. And especially our kids need to hear that they're doing a good job, whatever that small little task is. You want to be able to praise them in regards to whatever it might be. And so it's just important, and working together. I look at these scriptures and I'm like, they worked together. It wasn't just one person coming up with this and then dictating, saying, okay, go, 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 go. It was everybody working together and using their skills the way that God intended them to go ahead and work. Yes, working together as a team. So a question that we have for you, kind of how we can relate these things. Do you have, or are you developing the ability to encourage others through affirming words and actions? Are the words of affirmation your love language? Or are you in a relationship with someone where words of affirmation are their love language? Is it a spouse, a potential spouse, a parent, friend, your child? The words that we have are one of the most powerful tools in our relationship toolkit. They can be used to build up others, like we're seeing here in this literal building up and constructing the tabernacle. It can be used to build others up through the affirmation and encouragement, but conversely, they can also be used to destroy through shaming and being overly critical. Even a lack of words can be damaging to your relationship. Yes, very much so. Not hearing I love you and great job, and just those words can definitely harm a relationship. And you can start today with those words. It's just one phrase. It's just saying it once. And even if you have to remind yourself, put an alarm in your phones. Everybody carries a phone nowadays. Put an alarm in your phone and say, text my spouse I love them. Once you continue to do that over and over and over again at different times, it becomes natural for you to go ahead and do it. If that is not a natural thing for you to go ahead and do, go ahead and start doing it. Go ahead and start telling your kids that you love them more. We are not promised tomorrow, and so we need to go ahead and take each day like it's our last. Yeah. And as you said, if that's not part of your natural way, then start developing it to where it becomes your natural way. As we would tell a toddler, use your words. Don't scream. but we've also got to use our words correctly. We have to be willing to use our words to communicate love to others. Sometimes the actions, the physical touch, the acts of service, the gifts, the quality time, they're not the most effective way to tell someone that we love them. We have to use our words and use them in the correct way, with the correct tone. There's a whole lot we could talk about using your words correctly, but we need to not only use our words, but we need to use it correctly. I agree, because words are powerful. There was an analogy a long time ago. My mom shared with us in regards to a pillow, and you get a pillow and you slice it and all the feathers go all over the place. And those are our words. Once they're out in the air, you can't take them back. You can ask forgiveness as much as possible, but those words are still out there. And so it all depends on how you use your words. Are they kind words or are they hate words?
Yeah, let's use the right kinds of words.
Yeah.
So in chapter 39, we're going to see throughout the course of this chapter, if we were to read the whole chapter, 10 times there is a phrase or its equivalent, as Yah had commanded Moshe.
Yeah.
The tabernacle, its furnishings, its courtyard, the priestly garments, they're now completed, and they're brought to Moshe for inspection. We see in verse 43, we can go ahead and read that. We'll read 42 and 43. According to all that Yah commanded Moshe, so the children of Israel did all the work. And Moshe looked over all the work and saw they did it as Yah had commanded, so they had done. And Moshe blessed them. So everything that Yah had commanded Moshe to build for the tabernacle, for the priestly service, was completed according to the specifications that he gave to them. And upon seeing this finished work, Moshe spoke a blessing over the people. Again, we see affirmation for a job well done.
Yeah.
So we're getting this example from Yah, we're getting it from Moshe. This is something that we are to do, is to affirm and encourage. In verse 42, it says that according to all that Yah had commanded, so they did all the work. So this is something we're going to break down a little bit. What was necessary for the children of Israel to have this said of them? That is, that they did all of it according to Yah's command.
Yeah.
Well, 4 things that I see here.
Yeah.
They had to know how he wanted it done. They needed the skills required to do it.
Yeah.
They needed the raw materials required to construct it.
Yeah.
But they had to want to do it.
Yes.
As Yah wanted it done. So, they had to have the instruction, the ability, the raw materials, but they had to have the desire.
Yeah, desire's huge.
So, when we go through this list, we see that Yah had given Israel the raw materials when they plundered Egypt, way back in the beginning of the book, when we read through the Exodus account. So they had the raw materials. He gave them the instructions or the blueprint. He gave it to Moshe up on Mount Sinai. So they've got the raw materials. They've got the instructions or the blueprint. He gave the ability or the skill set to Bezalel and Aholiab.
Yeah.
We read in this chapter, not only did he give them the skills and the ability, but they also were given the ability to teach others how to do it. So they've got the raw materials. They've got the skill set. They've got the instructions, but the other ingredient needed to do this tabernacle project, desire, is something that Israel had to provide.
Yeah.
Nowhere in these chapters does it say that Yah gave the children of Israel the desire to build the tabernacle. The thing that we see is that Yah told them, everyone whose heart so moves him, let him bring a contribution to Yah. So just looking at these ingredients, what can we learn about them? What are the ingredients that we need to follow Yah's instructions or his commandments? You can have the raw materials and you can have the skills and you can have the directions, but none of these are going to build your relationships without desire.
Yeah, you have to have that desire. You have to be able to have that desire, and if you don't have that desire to be nice and kind, and to show love to your family members, especially to your spouse and to your kids, ask God. He's going to go ahead and help you to be able to have that desire again. You married that person for a reason. Why did you marry that person? What was it that you liked about that person when you married them? And after so many years of marriage, we all change, but it's a matter of, okay, what was it originally that you liked about that person? And God, I need your help again to go ahead and desire my spouse, to go ahead and love them the way that God loves them and loves me. Same thing in regards to our kids. Kids mess up all the time, but how do you love them? You know, you need to have that desire to go ahead and do that. And if it doesn't come natural, like we said, pray and ask God to go ahead and help you. It's one little step to go ahead and be like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try better today. I'm going to go ahead and try better today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, while we're in the midst of these things, we're talking about the things that they needed to be able to build this tabernacle. And we're relating it to the ability to build a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. But part of that is something that is very necessary, and that is, you know, you have to have the instructions.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to have, what do you need to be able to do? You need to be able to follow
the instructions.
Those instructions, right?
Yes. Yeah. Follow the instructions, you know, and so that is really important because each person might be given, you know, different skill sets, you know, of what they know how to go ahead and do. And how do you follow the direction? You know, do you do well with following direction? Especially, you know, when it is a wife who is given a husband instructions. Husbands, do you listen to your wife? Not when it comes to the cooking and cleaning, okay, but when it comes to other things. You know, she might know a lot of other skills that you never even realized, you know, because she might be like, you know, I'm more inclined to go ahead and do this way. I grew up in my life to be able to know a lot about computers and technology. My dad had a computer before I was even born, you know, and so because of that, computers to me don't scare me. Now, I don't know a lot about them. I don't fix them at all. But for me, I don't have a hard time setting up a computer. I don't have a hard time setting up, you know, the Roku station and troubleshooting some of those things and figuring some of that stuff out when it comes to that. And it's because God has given me that ability to go ahead and figure some of those things out. And so because of that, it's a matter of how do you respect each other when it comes to learning those different skills? How can you go ahead and help that other person, you know, and be their helpmate, you know, in a way when it comes to different things around the house? How do you follow instructions? How do you follow instructions when it comes to our teachers? You know, how do we... They spend tons of time studying, you know. Do you spend that much time studying the word? Probably not. Most of the time we probably don't. And it might not be the resources that they have access to or the books that they have. So how are you listening to their instructions and their directions when it comes to your life?
You've got to be able to follow the instructions, and it's you know, such a huge thing to be able to realize that this goes both ways in a marriage relationship. I mean, I'll give you an example of us. I've never really been all that good at hanging pictures. You know, it's just not my thing. I mean, like, I never really hung pictures because I didn't have pictures on the walls where I lived. And Sarah knows how to do that stuff. So when it came time for us to move into our new house and it was time to put up a bunch of pictures, yeah, I helped. But Sarah had the know-how and the skill to be able to, like, this is where I put the nail and this is how I get it straight and, you know, things of that nature. If I was bullheaded and just went ahead without her, then we'd probably have a bunch of crooked pictures.
I can eye a picture. You know, when you're trying to hang a picture on either sides of it, I don't have to measure for the most part. I am able to go ahead and literally figure out maybe a little bit off and you just tap it a little bit more, you know. But I mean, I don't know, it's a God-given ability that I can go ahead and hang pictures when it comes to two little hooks on either side, and it has to be even in a good way, you know. And it's just one of those things that if he was bullheaded and, you know, been like, okay, Sarah, I got this, you know, we might not have some even pictures, you know? And so it's a matter of learning with each other.
And we've got more pictures to hang in our house. So, I mean, you know, when it comes time to hang some of those pictures, I still trust in her expertise to do it. I'll hold it, you know, and do these things. I'll do my part to come alongside her and help to do that thing. But she's the one who has the skill set, so I help her in that.
Yeah.
You got to understand that. I mean, that's just one example of the give and take in a relationship.
Yeah, it is. You know, it is. It's a learning thing, and it's a matter of being willing to go ahead and learn from each other. You know, ask your potential spouse or ask somebody to teach you something, you know, and learn from them, because then you're able to go ahead and do it next time. You know, I had a house in New Mexico that had a swamp cooler. And pretty much what that is an air conditioning unit up on top of your roof. My dad worked out of state. He wasn't around, a real lot to go ahead and help me. But I'd call him and be like, hey, Dad, I'm going up on the roof, and he's like, okay, make sure you adjust the ladder properly. Make sure you do this and check this and figure this out. And, he would give me the instructions to go ahead and do those things. But I had to follow his instructions to be able to know how to go ahead and fix my swamp cooler and do it every single year for the 2.5, 3 years that I was there.
So, I mean, these things, it kind of circles back to desire.
Yeah.
Sarah desired to, get that thing taken care of. She also desired to stay healthy in the process.
Didn't want to fall off the roof.
So, the desire caused her to go ahead and seek the counsel and seek the instruction of her father, and she followed the directions.
Yeah.
Well, what else can we look at desire in our relationships? Because really, desire is a fundamental component of successful relationship. You have to want it, in order to have it be successful.
Yeah.
In a relationship, let's look at desire as the way that you are willing to pursue a relationship.
Yeah.
Have you found somebody that you're willing to pursue? And on the other side of that, have you found someone who is willing to pursue you?
Yeah.
Desire is going to cause you to pursue another person.
Yeah.
If you don't want it, if they don't want it, they're not going to pursue you. So what does healthy pursuit look like? Because there's different kinds of pursuit. So, you don't want someone pursuing you in an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
I mean, some things that you can do for a healthy pursuit is showing interest by asking questions. Yeah. And when they answer the questions, you're intently listening, and so you can find out, things about them. Arranging time to meet again, not just have it be haphazard, like hang up the phone without even knowing. Well, when are we going to talk again? Honoring and respecting their boundaries.
Yes, that's huge. That's huge.
So I mean, if you want to pursue somebody, you have to do it in a way that is healthy, and it is kind of in some ways up to the other person to let you know about those boundaries.
Yes.
But you just don't want to, I guess, over pursue might be the word, like when it means you're crossing one of their boundaries.
Yeah, you want to find out when's a good time to be able to talk to them. Early in the morning, if you're on 2 different time zones and they're East Coast and say you're Central time zone, you calling them at your 7 o'clock in the morning, East Coast, is going to be 6 o'clock Central time for them. That might not be a good time to be able to call. Same thing late at night. You might be okay to go ahead and call somebody at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. But if they're East Coast, that's 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And if they're having to get up super early, what kind of signal are you showing them and telling them, hey, this is the time I can call? Why not come to a compromise and figure out a good time? Maybe you can do it one night a week, and you sacrifice your sleep a little bit to be able to have a conversation with somebody. But it's a matter of what kind of desire do you have? When you have a desire and wanting to pursue somebody, you're going to have that interest in them. You're going to want to call them. You're going to want to text them. You're going to want to send them funny memes. You're going to want to send them good scriptures or songs that remind you of them. Those are going to be some things that are going to show some interest, as long as it is a good type of desire. If it falls into stalking, that's not good either. Don't stalk somebody. You don't want to overwhelm them, with too much information. And that's where it can become across as stalking somebody, And so that's where you need to figure out, okay, am I stalking somebody or am I showing where I really truly desire somebody? And if you don't desire that person, if you don't have a desire to get to know that person in a relationship way, you need to be open and honest and tell them. Let them know and say, hey, I really enjoy spending time with you, and I think we have a great friendship. I think this is a good friendship to go ahead and have. That lets them sort of know, hey, this person is looking at me in a friendship way. or say something of, right now I'm just not wanting a relationship right now. I enjoy our time, I enjoy our conversations, but right now I am just not seeing us as a couple. It's okay to go ahead and say those things. That's part of desire as well. It means you don't have a desire for them. It means that you're not interested in them that way, and that's okay. It means somebody else is out there who has that desire to be with you. Don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as, okay, this person is not the one for me. I can move on. God, show me the next person who I need to go ahead and be with. Who is that person that I need to be with? Does this person meet the needs that I need to go ahead and have? We talk about the needs, wants, situation, making your list. What are you able to offer somebody, and what are they able to go ahead and offer you? So go back to some of those things.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, we are all worthy of being pursued for relationship.
Yes.
When you meet the one that is planned for you, that person is going to pursue you. They're going to desire to spend time with you. They're going to pursue you so that they can know you.
Yeah.
But look at that from both sides. If you are not willing to pursue somebody, as Sarah said, that person is worthy of being pursued.
Yes.
Just like you're worthy of being pursued.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to do that, then let them know.
Yeah.
And you can both agree to just be friends.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, it is. It is okay.
And in the time that you're waiting, I mean, you can go ahead and work on your raw materials. You can work on your skills, so that these things can be combined with the desire when the desire comes, so that you can build a healthy, successful marriage. In the time of singleness is the time to work on, learning the instructions and developing your raw materials and your skills. So that when Yah puts that one in your path, then you can take those things that He's given you, combine it with the desire, and you can build, something beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So in chapter 40, in verse 33, let's see, it says that he raised up the courtyard all around the dwelling place and the altar, and he placed the covering of the courtyard gate, and Moshe completed the work.
Yay!
So when all the parts of the tabernacle were all completed and it passed his inspection, then Moshe assembled the tabernacle. He put everything in place.
Yeah.
Moshe started a monumental project, and he was able to finish it.
Yes.
So what can we learn from his example? Are you the kind of person that finishes or completes what you start? What about your potential spouse?
That's good.
What is it that makes someone able to finish or complete a task or project? Is it skill? Is it resources? Is it time?
Yeah.
Well, all those things are necessary. But again, the most important thing that helps someone to finish a task is desire or willpower.
Yeah.
There's a phrase that we've all heard: when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Yeah. So, I mean, we've all heard it a lot, but have you ever considered the need to apply this phrase to your relationships? Mm-hmm. Let's face it, every relationship at some point, the going is going to get tough. Yeah. There's miscommunication and misunderstanding and difficulties in your work and career. Yeah. There's health problems, financial problems. All these things and more can lead to strained relationship. The going is going to get tough. Yeah. But are you the type of person that is going to fight for your relationships? Are you going to see it through? Yeah. Now, some people don't like to hear this word, but it fits. It's apropos. Is your potential spouse a fighter or quitter?
Yeah, that's good.
So, a good thing to maybe ask about is, let's talk about some life experience. Let's talk about, times you face challenges or struggles. Yeah. You want to find out, are they up to the challenge of having the covenantal marriage relationship? And you want to ask yourself, am I up to the challenge of having that? Yeah. Am I a fighter or am I a quitter? You have to take an honest look at yourself. Yeah. And if you're not where you want to be, then work on your raw materials. Yeah. Work on you to get into the place where you're willing to do that, because you recognize the value of having that.
Yeah. And we're not talking about fighting with somebody. We're not talking about a physical fight at all.
No.
We're talking about, do you finish tasks that are supposed to get done? Like we bought 2 screen doors. okay, for our house. One for our front door, one for our back door. Our front door got done a whole lot sooner because there was some nice weather. The last couple times there hasn't been nice weather to go ahead and finish that door. It doesn't mean we're quitting on the project. It just means that we're waiting for the right time. So it's a matter of, versus waiting an entire year, to get it done. It's a matter of, okay, what is on your to-do list and what needs to go ahead and get done, and not quit on it. Not just quit because, okay, either this is too hard or no, I'm not doing this, or, whatever it might be. It's a matter of, do you just give up, because it's like, I'm done. We don't want our kids to give up. We want our kids to go ahead and to learn to read and write, and to be able to do those different things. Do we want them to go ahead and quit, because they can't color within the lines? So now you're 20 years old and you can't color in between the lines.
It's an important skill when you're 20 years old.
Yeah, it is. And so, it might come in handy because you're a graphic designer.
There you go.
So it's like you need to go ahead and learn to color in between the lines. So you don't give up on your kids when you're teaching them something. We don't need to do that either as adults. God wants us to go ahead and complete a task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just another valuable lesson that we can get from looking at the example of Moshe.
Yep.
He saw this thing through to completion.
Yeah.
And so should we.
Yes.
Well,
very true.
We're going to read the last section of the portion, verse 34 through 38.
Okay.
Can you read that?
Yeah, 34 through 38.
Yeah.
Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled on it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And throughout all their journeys, whenever the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the sons of Israel would set out. But if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not set out until the day when it was taken up. For throughout all their journeys, the cloud of the Lord was on the tabernacle by day, and there was fire in it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel. Can you imagine that? That would just be awesome.
It would be awesome.
Awesome.
Looking at the cloud remaining over the tabernacle, it was a visible reminder to Israel that Yah was with them in the camp.
Yeah.
Now, the people had remained ready to journey throughout the whole wilderness experience, but they did not break camp until the cloud began to move.
Yeah.
The people learned to move when Yah moved. They rested when he told them to rest. By maintaining awareness of the cloud, and this is, I think a big thrust of this whole Torah portion, indeed, all the things that we've been talking about relationships, maintaining awareness of the cloud, the people were learning how to follow Yah. So what can we learn through this and apply it to our relationships? Well, first we'll look at our relationship with Elohim. We have to maintain awareness of his presence within you and all around you. And then we have to learn to follow his movement, follow Elohim's movement. We have to be prepared to move when he moves. So, those are just, two glaring things that we can take out of, looking at the cloud. But how can we apply this to our other relationships? We need to have awareness of our spouse or anybody that you're wanting to have a good, healthy relationship with. Have awareness of it. What does that mean? It's to carry an awareness of their feelings, their needs, their desires, their honor. You have to be aware that you're not two anymore, but the two of you are becoming one. So also the same thing about following Elohim. You have to learn as one to follow Elohim together. If you follow Elohim together, your relationship will have order. If you follow Elohim separately, your relationship will have chaos. So when you sense Elohim moving, you have to get on the same page. And then you can follow him together. And that's just a little thing to take from a relationship aspect of what it meant to follow the cloud. Israel had to follow the cloud together. They couldn't, just go in every which direction, or else there would have been chaos. But they did have a camp of order. They followed the cloud according to the way that he said to follow him.
we need to learn to follow. We need to learn to go ahead and follow, our different relationships. Maybe we're needing to go ahead and move across country. Maybe we're needing to move into a different house, different neighborhood, different country. Whatever it might be, we need to go ahead and listen to each other, listen to God in regards to what is he telling us to go ahead and do. The big important part is, of course, listening to God. What does his word tell us to go ahead and do? That is our blueprint. That's what we need to listen to.
Yeah. And just, it's just the awareness that we're not on an island.
Yeah.
When it comes to our relationships with people.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us do at least understand that we have to constantly remain aware of our relationship with Elohim.
Yeah.
That's fundamental.
Yeah.
But also it's maintaining, the awareness of your relationship with your spouse. Also, awareness of the relationship with your family, with your friends, with your community, recognizing that all of your words and all of your actions are going to have repercussions on everybody around you. So just an awareness, maybe even taking a moment to pause and consider the consequences of what I'm about to say and what I'm about to do. How is this going to impact my relationship with Elohim, with my spouse, with my parents, with my kids, with my friends? The things we do and the things we say, have consequences, either good or bad.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Well, this parsha, wow, I mean, we were just talking about, kind of a repetition of some things that we got earlier. Earlier in the book of Shemoth and Exodus, we learned about these blueprints and these instructions, and here, it's basically just telling us the same information, slightly different, going from you shall make these to they did make these, but we found many lessons, in here about building and maintaining healthy, successful relationships. And the overarching theme of at least the lessons that we were taking from it is maintaining awareness. Awareness of your relationship with Elohim, as well as awareness of your relationship with your spouse, your family members, your friends, any member of your community. The awareness is going to inform your choices, how you act, how you speak to those who you share relationship with. Will you use your words correctly? Can you acknowledge and affirm your spouse and the others you share relationship with? Do you have the desire to go along with your raw materials, your skills, your instructions for relationship building? Are you ready to pursue relationship with another person similar to the way that you have pursued relationship with Elohim? Can you pursue another person correctly in a healthy way? Do you have the willpower to fight for your relationships? Are you up to the challenge of maintaining and growing successful relationship with a spouse? Can you maintain that awareness of Elohim together? Can you follow Elohim together? The art of relationship, and it is an art. The art of relationship does require a lot of work and a lot of giving of yourself, and it can even seem quite intimidating at times. But the payoff of healthy, successful relationships with Elohim, with our spouse, with our fellow humans, it exponentially outweighs the costs. You are worth the effort. Yeah,
you are. You definitely are, and we are glad you are here. We are glad that you are following us and continuing to tune in. So make sure you continue to go ahead and like and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook and also on Instagram. And of course, we also have our dating website as well for singles who are looking for a Torah following believer. We want you to go ahead and find your spouse. We want you to go ahead and have that foundation set up. So we are glad you are here, and make sure you continue to tune in. Would you like to go ahead and give the blessing of the end of this one?
I'm going to go ahead and say the traditional phrase that we say when we end a book of the Torah, and I'm going to give you the interpretation in a slightly different way.
Okay.
Hazak, hazak, v'nitz kazik. Be strong, and may we all be strengthened to pursue healthy and successful relationships.
Yay. Awesome. Well, thanks, you guys, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, y'all.